In February 1536, de la Forêt obtained the signature of a commercial treaty called Capitulations, of which only a draft has been recovered, which was the foundation for French influence in the Ottoman Empire and the Levant until the 19th century. Suleiman seemingly had some doubts about French commitment, expressing, "How can I have trust in him? He has always promised more than he can carry out," referring to the lack of French commitment in 1534–35, when Tunis was finally recaptured by Charles V, but he nevertheless agreed to the alliance upon Francis I's invasion of Piedmont in early 1536. The 1536 Franco-Turkish treaty allowed the French in the Ottoman Empire to be judged by their own laws, in a French consular court, a status the Venetians had already been granted, exemption from the usual taxes and dues levied upon non-Muslim foreigners, and trading concessions. This treaty offered guarantees, especially extraterritoriality, that would become the model for future unequal treaties between European and Asian powers. By this agreement, French law courts, churches and valuables would all remain extraterritorial in the Ottoman Empire. In a sense, French possessions in the Ottoman Empire would become the first foreign possessions of the French crown, effectively a crown colony of France. The French protectorate also extended to the holy places of Jerusalem. By 1620, one-third of France's foreign trade was done with the Ottoman Empire. The commercial treaty actually was something of a facade for Jean de la Forêt, whose main role was actually to coordinate military collaboration between France and the Ottoman Empire. The commercial treaty, however, would become prominent from the second half of the 16th century. Once the treaty with the Turks was secured, Francis I invaded Savoy in 1536, starting the Italian War of 1536–1538. A Franco-Turkish fleet was stationed in Marseille by the end of 1536, threatening Genoa. In 1537 Herdin Barbarossa raided the Italian coast and laid siege to Corfu, although this provided only limited assistance to the French. With Charles V unsuccessful in battle and squeezed between the French invaders and the Ottomans, Francis I and Charles V ultimately made peace at the Truce of Nice, June 18, 1538. La Forêt died at Constantinople in the following year. Charles V would turn his efforts against the Ottomans, only to lose the Battle of Preveza on September 28, 1538. The vizier died soon after the treaty was made in 1536, and there is doubt whether the treaty was formally ratified at this point, since only an archived draft has been found. The Treaty of Alliance between France and the Ottoman Empire would eventually be ratified later in 1569 through Ambassador Claude du Barg. Suleiman nevertheless respected the content of the agreement, and launched his armies, awaiting for the French offensive.